Welcome back to the Deep Dive, where we dig into some fascinating source material and see what we can learn.
That's right, trying to extract those important nuggets of knowledge that we can apply to our own lives.
Exactly. And today we're going to be diving into something called the three pillars of success.
Ooh, that sounds intriguing.
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want a roadmap to achieving their goals, right?
Absolutely.
So we'll be unpacking some interesting concepts along the way.
Okay.
Is obsession really necessary for success?
Hmm.
Or what kind of sacrifices do we really have to make?
Interesting questions.
Yeah, so,
Well, one thing I find fascinating about this excerpt is that it seems to be very practical,
okay.
very action-oriented. It's not just theory. It's really about giving you steps you can take
I like that.
to improve your life.
Yeah.
And while the source doesn't explicitly state, its origin or its intended audience,
Yeah.
the language and the tone really suggests that it's for a pretty general audience, people who
Yeah.
are looking for tangible ways to better themselves.
All right, so let's jump into these three pillars.
Let's do it.
The first one is obsession.
Okay.
I got to say, that word kind of makes me a little uneasy.
Yeah.
It makes me think of someone who's maybe a little too intense.
I understand the hesitation, but, the source defines obsession not as like a negative fixation,
Okay.
but as this powerful driving force that can really propel you towards achievement.
Okay, so it's more about that deep motivation,
Right.
that laser focus, that
Oh, really?
persistence, even when you face challenges.
Yeah, it's interesting to connect this back to some other popular success theories we often hear about,
Yeah,
like, find your passion or cultivate grit.
right.
It seems like they're all tapping into this idea of harnessing some kind of powerful internal drive
Right.
to really push you forward.
I see the connection there, and I really like how this source actually gives us a concrete exercise
Oh, nice.
to figure out just how obsessed we are with our goals.
Okay.
So it asks us to write down our biggest goal and then ask ourselves, does this goal excite me so much that I think about it every single day?
Wow, that's a good question to ask yourself.
Right? And I'm curious, have you ever used a technique like this in your own life?
Absolutely. I think self-reflection is so crucial when you're setting goals. It's really easy to get caught up in what we think we should be doing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But true success, I think, really comes from aligning our goals with our genuine passions.
Mhm.
And sometimes that means, refining those goals until we find that sweet spot
I like that.
where challenge meets excitement.
Refining until you find that sweet spot. So let's say you've identified your obsession.
Okay.
What's the next pillar we need to build upon?
Well, the second pillar is consistency. And the source really emphasizes this as the key to sustaining that initial fire that's been ignited by your obsession.
Oh, okay. So it's not enough to just have that burning desire.
Right.
You have to consistently, keep those flames going.
Exactly. It's all about the power of small, repeated actions over time. Think of it like building a muscle, one workout won't get you ripped,
Right.
but consistent training over time, you'll see incredible results.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about those days, when your motivation just dips?
Sure.
Does the source address that at all?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It acknowledges that motivation can come and go, but discipline is what really keeps you going,
Oh,
even when you just don't feel like it.
that's so important.
It is, it's about showing up day after day, putting in the work, even when it's not glamorous or exciting.
So it's about creating habits,
Yeah.
building those habits.
Speaking of practical application, though,
Yeah.
the source has another one of those example exercises for us here, right?
It does, and it's a good one. It suggests you pick one tiny action that you can take every single day that will move you closer to your goal
Okay.
and track it for 30 days.
30 days.
It could be anything.
Oh.
Spend 30 minutes learning a new skill, make one sales call every day, just something small and manageable, and commit to doing it no matter what. That's where the rubber meets the road, as they say.
It is.
All right, so we've got obsession, fueling the fire, consistency, keeping it burning.
Right.
What's the third pillar that completes this framework?
Well, the third pillar is sacrifice, and this is where things get a little more nuanced.
Okay.
The source emphasizes that, success often requires making some tough choices,
Mm-hmm.
accepting that trade-offs are just a part of the journey.
Okay.
You can't have it all and achieve great things at the same time. You have to prioritize.
I think a lot of people would kind of push back on that idea of sacrifice.
I can understand that.
Can sound a bit negative.
Sure, it can sound restrictive,
Yeah.
but the source frames sacrifice not as like a deprivation,
Okay.
but as a form of strategic prioritization. It's about aligning your choices with your aspirations.
Right.
And being willing to let go of things that might be holding you back, even if it means, some temporary discomfort or delaying
So
gratification.
being intentional with your time and your energy,
Precisely.
making choices that support your larger goals.
Exactly. And the source really encourages us to be honest with ourselves about what those sacrifices might look like,
Okay.
to really take a hard look at what we're willing to give up to achieve our goals.
So that adds a layer of complexity, but it also feels kind of empowering.
It does.
You're taking control.
Yeah, you're in the driver's seat.
So is there another exercise for us here?
There is. It suggests we write down the top 3 things that are holding us back.
Okay.
And that could be anything from unproductive habits to energy-draining relationships.
Right.
And then it challenges you to commit to sacrificing at least one of those things for the next 90 days.
Wow, 90 days. That's a serious commitment.
It is.
It makes me wonder, what kind of sacrifices have you personally made to achieve your goals?
That's a great question.
And how did you deal with those trade-offs?
I think everyone faces different sacrifices on their journey. For me,
Yeah.
it often means having to say no to opportunities that might seem, really exciting on the surface. But ultimately, they don't really align with my long-term goals.
Right.
So it's about staying focused on the bigger picture, not getting sidetracked.
Yeah, for sure. Prioritization and focus seem to be like recurring themes in this whole framework.
Absolutely.
So, okay, we've explored these 3 pillars in depth.
Yeah.
Obsession, consistency, and sacrifice.
Right.
But I'm curious how the source actually brings it all together.
Yeah.
Does it offer any kind of action plan for us?
It does, and it's surprisingly straightforward.
Okay.
The action plan section really emphasizes, putting these principles into action.
Mm-hmm.
It all starts by asking you to clearly define your obsession.
Mm-hmm.
What is that one goal you just can't stop thinking about?
So identifying that driving force,
Yeah,
that thing that keeps you motivated even when things get tough.
exactly. And if you haven't quite found that yet, the source encourages you to really take some time and reflect.
Mm-hmm.
What truly matters to you? What are your core values?
Yeah.
What kind of impact do you want to make on the world? It's all about connecting with your deeper purpose and making sure that your goals actually align with that vision.
It's like a soul-searching mission for success.
It kind of is.
All right, so once you've defined that obsession, what comes next?
Well, the next step is all about committing to consistency.
Okay.
The source suggests you choose just one specific daily habit that will move you closer to your goal and stick with it no matter what.
So I'm picturing like a habit tracker
Yeah,
to help you stay on track.
exactly. And the source also reminds us that progress really comes from showing up, not waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect conditions.
Mm-hmm.
It's about taking action, even if it's a small step, day after day.
So done is better than perfect.
Exactly. Focus on progress over perfection.
I like that. Okay,
Yeah.
so we've defined our obsession. We're committed to consistency. What's that final piece of the action plan?
Well, I'm guessing you can probably guess it has something to do with that third pillar, sacrifice.
I was thinking that.
You got it. The final step is evaluating your sacrifices.
Okay.
And the source reminds us that success, it does come with a price.
Right.
It asks this really powerful question. What are you willing to give up to reach your goal?
This is where it gets real.
It does. It's about making those tough choices. Being honest with yourself about what you're truly willing to let go of
Yeah.
to achieve those dreams.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's important to remember that sacrifice doesn't have to be about deprivation or punishment.
Okay.
It can be reframed as a form of investment every time we choose to prioritize our goals over something else.
Yeah,
We're essentially investing in our future selves.
I like that perspective. It's not about losing something.
Right.
It's about gaining something even greater.
Exactly. And the source also emphasizes how important it is to write down what you're willing to sacrifice and remind yourself why it's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
That can really help you stay focused and motivated, especially when things get challenging.
Yeah, having a visual reminder can be so powerful.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've broken down this action plan. But I'm curious, what are some additional tips or strategies,
Hmm.
that might help our listeners really bring this plan to life?
That's a great question. I think one of the most important things is setting realistic expectations.
Mhm.
Success very rarely happens overnight. It's a journey.
Yeah.
It requires patience, persistence, a willingness to embrace those setbacks as learning opportunities.
It's about playing the long game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Celebrate those small wins along the way and recognize that progress, not perfection, is the key.
Yeah, so many people get caught up in that all or nothing mentality,
It's so true.
and that can be so discouraging.
Absolutely, it can be. And it's important to be kind to yourself throughout this whole process. There will
Mm.
be days where you fall short of your goals or you just feel like giving up.
Right.
The key is to acknowledge those feelings, learn from any mistakes, and just get back on track.
So self-compassion,
Yes,
embracing the journey even with all of its ups and downs.
exactly. And another thing I would add is how important it is to find a support system.
Oh, yeah.
Surround yourself with people who believe in you and your goals. They can offer encouragement, accountability, a fresh perspective when you need it most.
I love that having that cheer squad can make such a huge difference.
It really can. Whether it's a mentor, a friend, a group of like-minded individuals,
Right.
that support can be so motivating.
It's about creating an environment that fosters growth,
Yeah,
helps you stay committed.
absolutely.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground with this action plan,
Have.
but I'm really curious to see what the source has to say in his final thought section. Does it offer any parting wisdom?
It does, and it's quite impactful. Success isn't complicated, it's just not easy.
Hmm.
The formula is simple obsession plus consistency plus sacrifice equals results.
It's really highlighting the importance of all three pillars working together,
It is. It seems
to
gr-
create those tangible outcomes.
It also drives home the point that success is achievable for anyone
Yeah.
who's willing to put in the effort and make those necessary sacrifices. There's no magic bullet or shortcut.
It's about the process.
It is.
Trusting that consistent effort fueled by passion,
Mm-hmm.
strategic choices will ultimately lead to results.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else the source says?
It ends with a very thought-provoking question. The question isn't, can you succeed? The question is, are you willing to pay the price?
Wow. That's a great question for our listeners to reflect on.
It is.
It really challenges us to examine our level of commitment
Yeah?
and determine how badly we want to achieve our goals.
It shifts the focus from possibility to willingness.
Right.
It's not about whether success is possible. It's about, are we willing to do what it takes to make it happen?
I love how this source combines, practical advice with those thought-provoking insights.
Me too.
It's a powerful combination that can really inspire action and encourage that deeper self-reflection.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that success is a journey, not a destination.
Hmm.
And the path is often paved with challenges, sacrifices, and moments of immense growth.
Yeah, it really makes you think. All right, so we've covered so much today, but before we wrap up, let's just do like a super quick recap of those three pillars of success.
Okay.
And then we can jump into that challenge that the source presents.
Sounds good.
So first up, we've got obsession, that burning desire
Right.
that fuels your focus and keeps you going even when you hit those roadblocks.
Yeah, and just remembering that obsession in this context isn't about, some kind of unhealthy fixation. It's
Mhm.
about finding a goal that truly aligns with what lights you up inside.
Right, you're passionate about it.
Okay, next we have consistency. Those small daily actions that you take that may seem insignificant at the time,
Hmm.
but over time can lead to amazing progress.
Absolutely. It's all about building that discipline,
Huh?
showing up even when you don't feel like it,
Right.
and trusting that those little steps will eventually turn into huge leaps.
Huge leaps. I like that. And finally, we have sacrifice, making those tough choices, accepting that we can't have it all,
Right.
and prioritizing our goals, even if it means letting go of some things that might be holding us back.
And again, sacrifice is not about deprivation.
Right. It's about strategically making decisions
Yeah.
that are in line with your dreams,
Investing in your future self.
Exactly.
I love how this framework really emphasizes both the internal drive and the external actions
Yes.
that are required to achieve success. So, okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about that challenge that this source gives us.
All right.
It says, write down your obsession, create a 30-day consistency plan, and identify at least one sacrifice you're willing to make.
Okay.
Track your progress and watch how your mindset and your results begin to change.
That is a fantastic call to action.
It's so specific.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just vague advice. It's a real plan that we can put into practice.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on this challenge?
I'm struck by how tangible it is.
Mm.
It really encourages you to not only identify your goals and the steps you need to take,
Yeah.
but to actually track your progress,
So important.
which I think can be really helpful in staying motivated.
Oh, absolutely.
And also seeing just how far you've come, especially when you hit those inevitable bumps in the road.
Right. You can look back and see all the progress you've made.
Yeah, and the source also really emphasizes the transformative power of this challenge.
Oh, interesting.
So by consistently applying these principles, You'll not only see tangible results, but you'll also start to experience a shift in your mindset.
Oh, wow. So it's not just about achieving external success.
Right.
It's about developing a mindset that actually supports that growth and success.
Exactly. It's about cultivating that growth mindset
Yeah.
that embraces challenges, learns from setbacks, and sees failures as opportunities to learn and grow.
I love that idea.
So this challenge, it goes beyond just, achieving a specific goal. It's about personal development
It is.
and developing that mindset that empowers you to really achieve anything you set your mind to.
Powerful stuff.
So does the source offer any final thoughts for us?
It does. It reminds us that the people who win in life aren't the ones with all the resources. They're the ones who refuse to quit.
That is so important.
Yeah.
It really highlights that success isn't about luck or privilege.
Yep.
It's about that grit, that determination, that refusal to give up on your dreams,
You got it.
even when things get really tough.
Even when you face obstacles.
It's a reminder that we all have that power within us
Yeah.
to achieve great things.
No matter what.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the 3 pillars of success.
It was a good one.
It was. Before we go, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay.
What if, instead of asking yourself, can I succeed, you started asking yourself, how will I succeed?
Ooh, I like that.
It's a shift in perspective.
It
It
is.
takes you from that place of doubt and uncertainty
Right.
to a place of empowerment and possibility.
Exactly.
So it's about embracing that journey, believing in your own potential, and really focusing on the steps you can take to make those dreams a reality.
I love it. And remember, success is not a destination. It's that continuous journey of growth and learning
Yes.
and becoming the best version of ourselves.
So to all our listeners out there, go define your obsession. Embrace consistency, make those sacrifices, and watch as your dreams take flight.
You've got this, and never forget that the power to achieve your goals, it lies within you.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
It was a pleasure.
We'll see you next time for another exciting exploration.